Everybody, welcome. This is the Wizard. We are going to talk about this Candid video. So I'm starting to do a lot more video now. I'm excited. I'm going to try different things, different positions of the camera, different setups, all sorts of things, and just try to get better at it. So this is basically a little video by Shane giving him his thoughts on the project, which I'm really excited to watch and comment on with you guys. So here we go.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well and that you're keeping safe. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Australia. Sitting in my office here on a Sunday morning.
Get clear now.
Yeah, it's a really nice day outside, and I thought, well, I don't usually record any of my candid thoughts on camera, and I don't know how many of you would actually be interested in listening, but
a lot of us.
I thought I'd jump on and make a recording and just talk a little bit about some of the decisions that I've made in the past, and also some of the player-centric ideology that I have for Earth 2, creating areas where players get benefit out of the Earth 2 platform. That's very important to me. And I guess there are many projects moving into the metaverse space at present. We can see that in Web3 and blockchain. There's also some very big corporations moving into the space too, and that's they'll bring some amazing technology with them, I'm sure, but it is also a little bit alarming, a little bit concerning. I'm sure that they will also bring their existing business practices into the metaverse and ways for them to capitalize on that, make the most money for the shareholder, for the company, and not for the consumer or for the player, as I like to refer to them to. And after the massive growth that we had with Earth 2, I was kind of quickly exposed to that high-level corporate world, exposed to people who have influence in the world almost.
I believe I remember in the beginning, Shannon mentioned that he was approached for like big deals to get a percentage of the company, like 6-figure deals, or 7-figure, I don't know, big deals, to be a part of it. They saw his vision, they wanted it, and he turned a lot of people down. Maybe he'll talk about that.
I've always had experience with business and corporate background in the past, but not quite on this level. And it was that exposure to that world, I think, that really made me think about what we have with Earth 2 and what we could do, what we could achieve with the platform that we're building. And
Players platform.
It was actually a lot of those initial discussions that kind of, as many of you know, I have resisted investment coming into Earth 2 from these guys, and I'm talking about billionaires, I'm talking about BCs, not BCs, not battle cruisers from StarCraft, I'm talking about billionaires, and I'm talking about venture capitalists, very influential people who had, that great people, but they had plans. These type of people have plans to capitalize on the players and not for the players.
Yes.
And then that just goes against what I believe.
Yes.
So I made a massive personal sacrifice, I guess, around that time, kind of moving away from those opportunities.
It's a risk.
I guess had I made that decision, probably could have retired multiple times over and let them take over. I would just remain in places like a kind of puppet, I suppose.
Oh, they wanted to take over like that.
But I ended up frustrating a few people, I'll have to say, and because I didn't agree with what they wanted to do with Earth 2. But I knew long term the players would lose, and the players wouldn't be able to get that control and the power that I wanted them to have in Earth 2 had I made those decisions. So, still here, battling away. Right now, as many of you know, we are a centralized platform, so all of the ownership of land and everything is all centralized right now. However, we have made public announcements. We've published news articles on our website, which have gone out as press releases around the world and have been acknowledged, by various places, regarding the Polygon partnership as well. So we have announced steps to become decentralized or work heavily towards the initial steps of decentralization in 2022, which is wonderful, something that I stand very strongly for. And that's something that will progress progressively over this year. And we'll see players, after we launch our token, we'll see players be able to slowly mint their land and have that on-chain. So at the moment it's off-chain and centralized, but the players will be able to have that on-chain. They'll have irrefutable ownership of their land tiles, the land that they own inside of Earth 2, and we're very heavily committed to doing that. So yeah, the way Earth 2 works at the moment, of course, players can come on, they can buy tiles or land on the platform that are geolocationally linked back from Earth 2 into the real world locations. And I just want to say quickly, so a lot of the land on Earth 2 is actually, it's depending which country you want to buy, and it's relatively cheap. It's like $5 or $10 for a decent sized property of new land, depending where you want to buy. Of course, countries like America are a little bit more expensive, and then you have like the player-to-player trading, which has nothing to do with us. That trade, they can sell their land for whatever they want to whoever wants to buy it. So if somebody wants to pay, they want to pay more money for a specific location, they do that. And I guess one of the biggest examples inside of Earth 2 was the Statue of Liberty, the area around the Statue of Liberty that sold player to player for $60,000, 60,000 dollars, which is equivalent to 60,000 US dollars. And that's not us selling the land to them. That's a player who got in early, bought that land, and sold it to somebody else. Now, that person wanted to own that land. The person who bought it, they wanted to own it. So this is how it's operating at the moment with player-to-player. These player-to-player sales and opportunities for players to sell things to each other.
Yeah, that was a big purchase. If it is based on AR, which augmented reality, where like real life, geolocation, where they go to that place, a lot of people visit the Statue of Liberty like all the time, right? It's just constantly people going there just to walk around. So if they had like wanted to tie it to that, it's a very popular tourist attraction, and there's a lot of tourist attractions, but that is definitely one of the main U.S. ones.
Yeah, I'll be continuing that on in the long term, but yeah. So and just on that, like location inside Earth 2 is also important. I just point out that if you have somewhere like the Statue of Liberty, as we gain more and more traction, of course, people who enter Earth 2 will wonder what in Earth 2, what is where the Statue of Liberty is. It's a global recognized landmark, so people will go there and they will want to know what's there. And we also have that intention of being able to link people who are physically at the Statue of Liberty into what's happening in Earth 2 in that area as well. So there are reasons to own those more popular areas, but there are also reasons in the long-term ecosim goals that we have for Earth 2 to own properties in lesser-known countries as well. So the game design that we're working on will be beneficial in a lot of different ways, I suppose.
I bought more land not in populated countries, like deserted islands, basically a lot. Not sure if that's going to be the smartest. That was the smartest move, but I'm making my own cities and stuff. So you could make your own city over another city, which would be cool too, but just didn't do that.
And that's, we're not twisting anybody's arm to come and buy land. We're not forcing. You don't have to buy land to sign up, for example. You can sign up for free. And then later this year, we will be introducing the first free-to-play gameplay. So you don't have to buy any land. It'll be free-to-play. We'll be introducing methods for people to sign up. They don't have to spend a cent. They don't have to spend anything, but they will be able to play the game and start doing things with other players, collaborating with probably landowners, and they'll be able to earn currency inside the game where they can then build things up for free. They can get that currency and they can do cool things with it. They could buy droids. They could, look at purchasing things that will help lead them up to being able to own their own properties. There's a lot of different things that they can do. So
now this is something that I discussed that people like people that would do in the Philippines, they would. Sorry, my daughter came up to me. People in the Philippines could play for very cheap, and they could play all day and earn money, and then buy land and keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrade, basically for nothing. So this gives a huge opportunity to like people of all types to get involved. I mean, imagine somewhere like island in the Philippines that all they have is internet and they don't really have can't really earn a lot of money, like younger kids and stuff like that. Maybe they make like $1 a day doing chores or something like that. They can go into Earth 2 and make like $100 a day. That would just be amazing thing, and then they would tell people and then it would grow. I could just see it, like if they set it up properly with that option. The more you play, the more you can get, and you could sell those resources, you can sell those jewels, you can sell the land, you can buy new land and then sell it or whatever. It just takes time to get everybody into it, right? And I think they know that. Like he knows that. He's got it in his mind what's going to happen. You can tell.
Really excited about introducing the free-to-play later this year. And actually, I'm personally, I'm heavily focused on. I'm actually kind of pretty much obsessed with creating opportunities in gameplay for creative players. So players that can be creative and then they can sell their creativity to other players. That's really, really important to us. So this is not like us creating things and selling everything in game to you as the player, as it kind of traditionally works.
No, it's giving people the platform to create their own. Like Rec Room, I saw you can create your own room, and they have competitions, and it's just really cool. And I think he's going to be doing that for sure.
So, as many of you know, the way that game platforms traditionally work is you have one centralized owner of the platform. Give it, League of Legends or Fortnite or whatever it may be. You can, in League of Legends example, you can purchase your champion. You can also earn them as well sometimes through various gameplay, but if there's a specific champion that you want, you have to purchase it or you have to play the game a lot to get that champion. And you can buy different skins for that champion, have different experiences. In Fortnite, you can get different skins and you're represented in different ways inside the game. But when you buy those digital assets, when you buy those, it's directly link back to your account, but you can't sell it to other players. So you can't modify it. You certainly can't create the thing from scratch, which is kind of what we're doing in Earth 2, which is already evident today. I'll talk about that in a moment. But you're not able to sell those assets, those digital assets, once you purchase them in game, and that is something that I don't strongly believe in. I think buying a digital asset should kind of be like, forgive the analogy, but it should kind of be like you go down to the toy shop and you buy a toy. If I want to sell that toy to somebody else, I can do that. Is it going to be less money? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Digital assets, sometimes it might be more money. It could be a collectible that I've purchased and I could sell it for more. So I'm a big believer in that. And I know there's a lot of the Web3, just off on a tangent, the Web3 and like blockchain, NFTs, things like this. I know there's a lot of people who abuse that technology, and therefore a lot of people call it a scam. They call it whatever, but they're the people who are abusing the technology. The technology itself is really quite interesting, and I'm a big believer in it, and I can't wait to get Earth 2 into that solution that so many people are building all over the world. So many developers are working to this Web3 and the different blockchains and proof of stake and what have you. So that's how centralized gaming platforms work, and for me personally, that doesn't interest me. I'm kind of obsessed with creating ways for players to be able to create things, be creative, and then sell that to other players if that player wants to buy it. And the holy grail for me is that those things that they're selling also have utility and purpose inside of Earth 2.
Yeah.
So this is also very important. I'm not sure, many people in the Earth 2 community know that we built our own holo building system editor. So players inside of Earth, and we did this last year. So in part of our ongoing partnership with Mapbox, we used some initial technology that they had built,
I think that was
and
just to be creative.
Together to get a very rudimentary version of that working. From there, our developers actually built a whole new level on top of that. So everything you see with the current holo building editor is actually what our developers have been working on and creating over time. And you only have to jump into our Discord and look in the holo art section. I'll try and show some here if I can figure out how to do that. But you jump in on our Discord, look in the holo art section, and you can see the amazing creations that players have come up with in there. It is just incredible. I would love to buy some of those things. So therefore, we've provided this creativity. It does actually have some utility in the game for storage space on land. So there's a few other things that are tied with having a holo building on your property inside of Earth 2.
I mean, I could maybe, but never got into it.
In order to follow this process of my belief in players being creative and being able to sell that creativity, we'll be releasing later this year the holo building marketplace, where players can make their own holo building. Well, they can make their own holo building in the editor, and then they can sell it to other players who want to buy it. And I know I certainly don't have time or the talent to be able to create some of the amazing holo buildings that other people have been able to create with using the Earth 2 editor. And I'd love to buy some of those. So that marketplace will be open later this year, and it's just another indication of the things that we're building to support player creativity and player-to-player, the ability for players to sell things to one another, and then the ability for that to actually be used in game or have utility in game, or have something related to the in-game parts of Earth 2. So this isn't about us creating and selling things to our players for us to increase our revenue. It's not about that at all. I want to build solutions that allow the players who are part of Earth to build things and be creative and sell that. And they get the vast majority of the benefit of their creation. So I have very strong beliefs in that, and you'll see that over time as we release more and more features. Another thing that we've done today is introduced a dual system inside of Earth 2, and that's another example of something that we introduced. It comes from us originally, so the players get the jewels from us. They don't have to buy them from us. They I love gaming. That's the type of thing that I want inside of Earth 2. So, and again, I guess going off from jewels, just talking about other benefits, I guess that we're.
Wait a second, I'm gonna go back to this.
Sell them to players for us to increase our revenue. I'm more interested in providing ways for the players to be able to do things, be creative, do gameplay. I'm a game.
This is let me move this. This is going on one of our project. Niza created these buildings on one of the islands in the crypto coast, and it's pretty cool. He got good at that. Looks nice. It gives you an idea of how they want to set up the area later on. It's pretty cool. Let's continue. No, Ginger.
Implemented is the concept of essence on property. So obviously, to get essence, you do need to own land, but in the near future, it will be more and more difficult for landowners to get their essence, which introduces the free-to-play ecosim player who can come in and help players who either don't have time to manage their properties or who have too many properties to manage. They can have contractual arrangements with ecosim players who know how to manage your property and get the most ether to essence out of your property through gameplay. And that will become more and more difficult over time.
This will be very important. I have so many properties that would be impossible to manage. I'm very curious how this is all going to work out in the future.
But I just wanted to talk about essence just in general, that is also something that it was not promised when we launched Earth 2, but that's something we introduced to benefit the players. And a lot of Earth 2 players will tell you, and they'll know that was introduced to benefit them. It's a key in-game utility, currency or token. It has utility right now. It'll have a lot of additional utility when things like resources launch.
Resources.
And once that begins trading on like a DEX or like a decentralized exchange, a DEX or a centralized exchange or exchanges, once it starts trading there, that the price or the value of essence will be completely player determined, or determined by people on those exchanges that have nothing to do with Earth 2. So the only way to get essence is to be inside of Earth 2 and to play inside of Earth 2. So that's how you get essence, and that's how we'll get onto the exchange. And I guess it's a bit of an interesting little story there. Is when we had essence, we announced that essence was going to be a token, and confirmed that. I had opportunities, and I had quite a bit of pressure to do a pre-sale on that token. What the pre-sale would have done is allowed people who don't play on Earth to be able to purchase the token in advance before it hits the exchanges.
Yes,
but
that's true.
Again, it didn't sit right with me because I want.
It says a pre-sale would have made Earth 2 a lot of money, and that's true. And this is a decision made to benefit the players selling it to each other rather than someone coming with a lot of money and scooping it up that doesn't have any idea about the coin, and they're just buying it because it's cheap. Um, for example, I want a lot more essence right now than I have. So as soon as it's available, I'd like to just buy a lot of it from another player who just wants to sell out or doesn't want it or whatever. That's going to be really interesting. We don't have to worry about the big, huge players just sucking it all up, right?
Wanted to help make the decision that was most beneficial for the players. That decision was to make sure that the essence that hits that initial exchange at listing at the time we list, all of that essence has been generated through gameplay inside of Earth. So it's been generated from players inside of Earth 2, not us just dumping a pre-sale of a token and saying, hey, if you guys have a lot of money, buy our token because, this might be what happens with our token. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure. Well, that was a little bit annoying. The camera just did this little jingle bell and turned off for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, I'm back. And what was I talking about? I was talking about the essence tokens that are owned or earned by players inside of Earth 2. That was very important to me. So who does it benefit? The players. That inside a lot of the things that I design, a lot of the things that I ask my team to design are based on that. Okay, who is this going to benefit? How is it going to benefit the players? That's important to me. Like another thing that we'll be releasing, for some of you who know, we made an acquisition last year of Droid the Game, which is an amazing game I love, and it's got some really, really cool technology. So in the near future, we'll be releasing something that we call our Droid Editor, and the Droid Editor will actually be like a completely player-created content 3D digital asset that will also be able to operate in our 3D world. The 3D world, the planet-sized 1-to-1 scale replica of Earth that we'll be releasing. So this is something. So Holo buildings, yes, they're completely player-created, and yes, they can kind of sit inside a filter inside of Earth 2, and they will have other purposes. But what I'm talking about here with our Droid Editor is players being able to construct something from scratch, make it look like, almost like anything they want, almost.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You could have like a spaceship-looking thing. Hey guys, sorry about that. The camera seems to have some kind of issue, so hopefully there's not too many cutouts. Cool. But I was talking about the Droid Editor and how that is also something that players can or will be able to use in the future to create these completely player-created droids that will be usable inside of.
They could sell them too, I assume.
Inside of the 3D planet that we're creating. So droids are like little helpers for the players. They'll be able to do different things, and you can even have like your pet droid that follows you around and does specific things for you, searches areas, finds things for you. And instead of us coming up with droids where we just say, oh, these are all the cool designs, like your League of Legends or the other, a lot of the other games, these are really cool droids. Hey, we're going to design them and sell them all to you. What I would prefer is for the players to be able to come up with really cool designs, and trust me, there will be some amazing designs that players create. We look at Holo buildings as any kind of judgment, and there's also people from the original drone game, and I'm hoping that some of the amazing people in there with their creations are able to come over into Earth 2 and
they will
people
when they
purchase
find out
their amazing creations in Earth 2 as well. So these are going to be usable inside the game. So it's taking that player-created content to a whole new level, which I'm really excited about. Being as somebody who had an advocate for player-created content, customizable player-created content in-game.
Yeah, that's cool.
As an advocate and somebody who believes very strongly in that,
I will actually make
that
those.
excites me more than a lot of other things. So, yeah, super pumped to when that goes live. So we will be launching a droid editor, hopefully over the next few months, where people can actually start creating their own droids and start even selling them to one another. And
droids, baby,
to be able
droids.
To be used inside the 3D.
Why are they called droids instead of drones? Because droids were like human-esque.
Releasing later this year in 2022. So, I guess. Yeah, I've probably talked a little bit longer than I had expected to. But, there's a lot of less player-friendly metaverses coming into the space. And they've already started commercializing, and the commercialization that they've been working on is not always super beneficial for the players. And that is something that doesn't sit well with me. So, you see some of these other metaverses, big brands coming into them. The agreement has been with the brand and the metaverse, and that's where all the that's how they've come into that metaverse. The brand is, the metaverse itself is benefiting from the brand, not the player. And for me, the way I'd like to create Earth 2 is that it's fine if a brand wants to come into Earth 2, that's fine, that's great. But if they want a presence inside of Earth 2, they're going to have to play the game. They're going to have to pay people or liaise with ecosim players inside of Earth 2 to have a presence inside of Earth 2.
Yeah, sponsorship.
That's what they're going to have to do. They're not going to come to us and say, hey,
Imagine sponsorships like in NASCAR, where you have like the Coca-Cola sign on your car, and in E2 you're a player that's sponsored, and you have like different companies' logos on your main page or on your droid or your body. That's gonna be cool. Sponsored by Atari, old school domination.
We want to do this partnership and, hey, just give us that and give us this and create that for us. No, that's not how it's going to work. I want the players to benefit. So if they want to come into Earth 2, they're like every other player. They've got to be like every other player to have their presence there. And then we're all on equal footing. So we know that they've come in and they've played the game and they're doing the same things that the other players are doing to be able to get what they have, or to get that presence that they have in Earth 2. Same thing for advertising. If they want to come and advertise inside of Earth 2, they don't come to us, they go to the player. So when advertising is available in the future inside of Earth 2, you go to the player and you organize to have your advertisements put on that player's land.
That's going to be cool.
That's where the negotiation is. That's where we can connect the player and the brands together, or the advertisers together. But the end relationship is between the brand or the advertiser and the player, not us. So we're providing the platform, but we're not benefiting directly from all of this. I want the players to get benefit for it's their land. They're the ones who need to benefit from it. So, I'm really kind of excited about how that will occur, and how that will be implemented and delivered on Earth 2 in the future. But from what I can see happening in other places, it's only it's just getting worse. So, yeah, hopefully more people kind of, I guess, see eye to eye with what I'm thinking and feeling, and maybe things will improve. But for Earth 2, that's what I believe in, and it ties in with all the other things that I believe in, that I want to create products, I want to create things that...
I think a lot of his ideas are awesome, and it's just showing them to people. Like, it's hard just to say this and that, but you like proving it and showing it, putting out the droid editor, putting out the way to make money as a player-generated content. The How buildings, people did amazing, but still, I don't think they're able to sell them yet for the blueprints or whatnot. But when that starts happening, and they realize, like, oh, that building that I spent an hour on just made me $100. I mean, that's really helping the player. I'm excited about that.
To benefit the player, that's very big. It's very important to me. So, I'm really proud about what we're building at Earth 2. I'm really proud and I'm excited about all the things that we'll be releasing throughout 2022. So please stick with us. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts here, and I'll try to do it from time to time for those of you who want to listen.
You know, a lot of us want to listen.
And yeah, I've got a lot of other things that I can say, a lot of other interesting, probably tidbits that I could share, and I'll try to fit it in. As I said, it's a Sunday here at the moment. I don't know what time it is. It's it's still morning, but beautiful sunny day. So I'm going to try and get out and enjoy some of it with my family. So hope all of you take good care, keep safe, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thanks very much for listening. Take
care. Thanks, Shane. I don't remember this guy. Gabriel, man, he hasn't done a video. Okay, so I'm in Taiwan, if you didn't know that, so this is the kind of video that I get. Hey, dude, nice shirt. All right, guys, let me go full screen here. Thanks for watching, and I'll do more videos. That was a very relaxed video. I just gave some, some feedback, some comments. I think I want to put some questions together for him as well. But cool. On to the next. See y'all later. Say bye, Jen.